Hello.
Hi,
How are we doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Okay, quick intro. Hello, I'm Tijana. Welcome to Living for the City. I'm going to be guiding you through today's screenings. We have screenings by Yarrow and Myra, but we'll get to Myra later. And obviously, this is day 2. We did New York City yesterday, right? And now today we're focused on the UK. UK massive. Okay, so yeah, online exhibition showcasing short films by women of colour and put together by Under London and FGSC, Film Girl Social Club. And yeah, I guess I should also say a little bit about me, just so we know where we're at. I'm actually really excited for this because I'm more versed in the music space, not so much narrative. So this is going to be really cool. I was a dancer initially, been a professional dancer for 10 years plus, and then transitioned. I'd always wanted to transition to the creative directing side and did so successfully a couple of years ago. So there's still so much I have to learn. So that's why I think the importance of these conversations are, really important.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, also if you want to check out yesterday's screening, go to the website lftc.art. So I've got loads of notes here. Oh, are we only just live now? No, we're not. lftc.art to view yesterday's screening, as well as check out some London Portrait series by Ashika Sakina, and showcasing female talent from the city. So, Yara, we have signs.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm going to give my synopsis of it here. Coming-of-age drama about teenage career coming to terms with the responsibility of looking after her family after a distressing incident.
It should say Kara. It should say Kara.
Oh,
Kara.
Kara, yeah, coming to terms with the responsibility of looking after. Yeah, exactly. So, you excited about this? I feel like we should probably have a bit more of a chat after. If there's anything you'd like to say before we get into watching it?
Not much, apart from it was a massive labour of love. I say that all the time whenever I talk about this film.
Yeah.
It was made with quite a lot of care. It was my first time properly behind the camera for a narrative piece. I wrote it for the main character, the main actor, Rianne Barreto, because she's just incredible, which you will see. And maybe grab some tissues because it's pretty intense. But enjoy, it's good intense.
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready. If we get it, there we go.
Mariam, my feet hurt.
You're gonna be late again.
Miss says I'm dyspraxic.
Oh, not dyspraxic. You're just really annoying. I don't want to feed again. No, you know I can't.
Why can't you walk me?
We've already talked about this. You have to walk by yourself. Because I can't leave him. Come on. Remember the rules?
Don't talk to no one and tell pedos to piss off.
Good girl. Come on. Go.
Talking! Certainly not US. I agree. With how many different women do you have 40 children?
I don't know.
You can't remember?
No.
Or
Mariam!
It's not one woman, she doesn't live in a shoe, I presume.
Mariam!
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
Mariam!
All of the hours God sends to co-provide for your children with...
You need to, no. Hang it up. Hang it up. Are they back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go to King's End Road for cheesy pizza?
No, let's stay in. Because we've got stuff to frost in. We have to stay inside.
Oh.
Up. Can you just not sit near scabby people at school, please?
What does a scabby person look like?
Oh, yeah, obviously someone's scratching their head, no?
So, am I a scabby person because I have nits?
Yeah. Oh my god. Look, if it's Jehovah's Witness, we're not in.
It's me, idiot. Open the door.
What is on your head?
Sorry, you smell of damp.
Listen, I could go if you'd rather not be
I've
here.
actually got some stuff I need to do.
Like
so.
drying clothes properly.
I'm actually quite triggered. What was that thing that we watched in media? It was where the kids were all weird, but they look like 40.
Rude. It's true though. I'm auditioning for a Nollywood version of Clockwork Orange. I think I found my true calling.
Like,
I'm trying to think of what I can do to cheer you up. Do you remember that teacher we had in year 2 who tried to do that impression? Yes, and she tried to do that impression of that girl from that band who was trying to do a Jamaican accent, and she was like, she was like, "Morning." Are you having a breakdown?
I don't have time for one of those. It's just nice to talk to someone that isn't 7 or 70.
Why is there chocolate in your bed? I really feel so annoying.
Oh, my period.
Oh, do you want to stay for dinner? I can't. It's Grace's B-Day thing.
Oh.
You can come if you want. Fresh air might do you good. When was the last time you stepped foot on actual concrete? I'm not keeping tabs. I'm just looking out.
Do you remember Easter at the Adibamjis? 1974. Your mother was plump that year, and she wasn't carrying you anymore. I could bounce her down the Ridley Road Market. Boing, 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 boing.
I'm hungry.
Me too.
Soup again, yippee.
I thought you were starving. What's the hold up? can't believe I'm watching Love Island on mute with the subtitles. My mum was really suffocating me. I've seen it.
Yeah, but the correct meme etiquette is to pretend you haven't and then be like,
How do you even have data? I'm not topping up for you again.
will Ade ever stop reminding her friends of her favours?
Find out next week on Petty Pal.
Favours?
mm-hmm,
Mate, I'm putting myself at risk even being here,
yeah.
covering for you, helping you out. I've had your back since day.
No one asked you to come over.
Cool.
What, so you're just gonna go then?
Unlike some of us, I have 11 GCSEs to sit, so I don't really need this energy.
Granddad, I'm going to teach you how to dance.
Yeah? Oh, God, what is it? Oh, what is it called?
It's called the floss.
Don't be silly. You floss your teeth, not your hips. Hey?
Granddad,
Yeah.
my feet hurt.
No. Well, my hips hurt. Hey, shall I walk you to school later on? Yeah. Is that your bag? Rain.
Go away.
This way. Come on. I'll pick you up after school.
Granddad, where am I? This isn't my school.
What? Who dressed you?
I did. I'm a big boy, you know. I thought I dropped you off.
Oh. Can you just check outside? Can you see if Noor's there?
She's not here. Your little sister, who is 7, is not standing outside our school. Dude, what is going on?
Julie. Leave a message.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know where she is. I'm really sorry. Call me back.
Mariam, I'm Phoebe. I'm from Hackney Council. We've got Noor, she's safe. Can I come in? Let's talk about what's going on in this house.
No, we're fine. I just fell asleep for a minute. And he was sundowning, and so I should have given him his pills. I usually do.
Look,
Yeah.
I get it. Duty. It's different for our communities. We're never children.
I'm not a child. I'm 16.
Not for another 4 months, Mariam.
So what are you going to do with me?
Let's take things step by step. Noor's with a family liaison officer. We're looking for a temporary placement for her. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we're looking for one for you too. Okay? It's okay.
Mariam. My Mariam.
I love to watch film in this way and then be able to chat to who, you know, created it right away. It's like, and I actually held off watching beforehand so I could equally like share the same experience as everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Congrats, first of all. And just in case anyone's joining late, welcome to Living for the City. And we just screened Yero's Signs. And God, I have a whirlwind of things. But first of all, I mean, you are an award-winning writer and director and worked with Channel 4, ITV, BFI, you know, like rather than me kind of giving the blurb, I feel like, what would you like to share? Like, what's some of your highs about your career or moments or achievements that you're proud of, just to help people understand a bit more? I think that's a good question to ask. Like, what moments, you know, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, weirdly, I'm really proud of Signs. First, because
weirdly.
It was the first thing that I did that was like my own, if that makes sense. So I started off working in development for film and TV because I say this a lot, but like a lot of filmmakers, writers, directors work behind the scenes on other people's work, and I wanted to learn as much as possible, and I did. And I had a full-time job in development while I did this film. Producer Katie, who sat right next to me, we worked together. And yeah, this is the first thing that I was like, this is something that's from my own mind. This is something that I get to shape and workshop with actors who have great chemistry. Rihanna and Vivian that play Ade and Mariam, they were just in hysterics on set. You can just tell. And also looking at stories, I think personally, that have a social issue at the heart of it, but also entertaining as well, and can be watched by a broad audience, I think. But really, I think my career so far, I mean, if you told me 2 years ago when we finished Signs and we handed it into BFI, that a year later when we released it, we would be in a pandemic and loads of people would be isolated. Loads of teenagers wouldn't be going into school like Mariam wasn't. It came out at a time, I think, when so many people were living that kind of life, even being like, oh, I don't want to go outside, like, you know? And I think that's super interesting. And just even looking at like, Granddad, I'll teach you the floss. I'm like, that's so dated already. I'm like, you're gonna be like, what?
Time though, it's cool things.
But no, it's been really great. It's been such a calling card for me. I think that started off as a pilot. I wrote the script called Circles, which is about 3 young carers who are basically just trying to live as teenagers, but also have huge responsibility. Ade was actually a carer in the pilot as well, but we wanted to show the disparity between a friend that maybe is like cool at school and has lots going on and isn't just the black best friend that comes over and is like, you can do it, girl, and leaves. She actually has a life of her own. She has she has GCSEs to do, and I think that was really important. But yeah, since then, I mean, I'm now working on about 8 TV projects at the same time, which is great. Not many writers and directors get to say that. I'm actually in production shadowing on a really cool TV show at the moment, and I think it gets announced sometime next week because of all the stuff that's happened over here, with the death of Prince Philip. Like, loads of things haven't been announced, so I'm excited for that to come out. But yeah, it was a great opportunity making that film, and lots of cool things have happened since then.
I mean, I guess we've touched on it a little bit because I was going to ask what inspired, but was there like something, a big impetus that was like, I have to get this done? Like, I really want to get this made. Like, what was like a big inspiration as to how Signs came about?
Sorry. So the song is named after the Beyonce song Signs.
I used to dance with Beyonce.
Oh my goodness, amazing. 6 degrees of separation from Beyonce. So yeah, that song Signs, something I used to listen to a lot when I was younger, and I was really, really ill when I was younger. I'm like ill all the time now with like various chronic illnesses, but I was super isolated as a kid. I was homeschooled, and that song really like helped me through stuff. It sounds really sad, but funnily enough, so that song was in the pilot that I wrote, and I will get there. There's a point to this, I promise. But a funny story with that is we actually wrote so Missy Elliott wrote that song. She owns 50% of it, and we wrote to her, and we were like, we read the letter that John M. Chu did for Crazy Rich Asians to get Yellow by Coldplay, and we were like, okay, how can we write to Missy Elliott to be like, so I wrote this letter to be like, I got this out, this album like in year 6 and blah 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 blah. And so we were allowed to use it, but it was just way too expensive for like a BFI short. That it was like a third of our budget. So we shot the 2 where they actually sing the song. Really what inspired me was just more coming of age tales with protagonist 1 of color, and 2, I think that young carers are like quite a forgotten community in the UK, and a lot of the stories that I see about young carers or young people who have like duties and quite a lot on their shoulders, it's super depressed. There's like no joy, and it comes from a lens of like, we're going to look at this and kind of make it feel a bit exploitative. And I think I wanted to show something about like happiness and life. And most of my films are like people sad throughout but smiling at the end, as easy as it is. And I remember pitching loads of things to BFI. So I won a New Talent Award a couple of years ago, BFI New Talent. And they were like, what do you want to do next? I pitched all these things. They were like, no, that's a feature. No, that's a TV show. They read this pilot and they were like, just make this a short film and make Mariam's character contained. And then that's what I did. So that's how it came about.
That's how that came about, yeah. Gosh, it's interesting, like young carers, as you said, it isn't something I don't know any. And I guess there are lots of young kids or teens that are somewhat robbed of it, immediately she's like, oh, I'm not a child, but it's really interesting to.
And some people think they don't know any, but sometimes people don't even know like they are young carers. So it's like a hidden
and making it itself, the journey of that, because I feel like there's always so much that we learn as we're creating too. How was the experience actually, like, crews together, everyone's there? I know you spoke briefly about how everybody's energies were, but like, what was the experience actually like hands-on?
I think I was really spoiled. And I was lucky as well that I had such a great crew, because it set the standard of like, okay, this is what it's like to have a cohesive group of people, and to specifically work with a producer Katie Sinclair, who's fantastic, who like gets the script, gets the story, knows that I need some rest periods because I have ME, so maybe there's like a quiet space for me to just chill out like every stressful take. We'll make sure the crew is really kind. We'll, also picking people where you're like, I really want to work with them for other things. Like Olan, who shot
fantastic.
is just like one of the kindest people ever, but also just his eye is just incredible. And I think it was really interesting because I met with lots of really cool cinematographers, and Katie will laugh at me because she'll be like, oh, you want to work with everyone. And I'd be like, this person, but Olan was the one who like properly challenged me on some things and asked me things that I was like, hold on, I've not thought about that. And I think you definitely need someone great to elevate your work.
That's where that comes in. And I think as well, you said I was pretty spoiled, and maybe we could look at it differently, because I think with work like this, I could feel the authenticity, even with the relationship. And as you said, I could feel that it must have been a good environment and happy space. And I think that trickles down from the head, from you, and in that, with that intention. And that's what like breathe life. No. That energy seeped onto set, and created something really beautiful, magical. So we say spoiled, I think we choose how we want that to that energy to feel.
Yeah, you definitely, we attract what we give out, as people say. But I've been on sets where I'm like, what's going on? As well, like that was 4-day shoot. I had such a huge crew, and even now the thing that I'm shooting now, and that's like the budget is so different because obviously it's TV. Like it's everything's so regimented, and you have to like just meet people on set that you've never met before, and then just like click. So maybe sport's the wrong word, but I think
that's true. Yeah, right. Okay, and also talk to us about the selection of partners to distribute the film. So you said it had come from BFI beforehand. They had already come to you to say.
Yeah, so it was kind of like okay, what do you want to do next thing? But and I remember I was like, oh yeah, I'll write it and I'll work with a really cool director, because I knew that I was like, I really want to direct, but not this one, not yet. I'm not ready. I'm not, haven't paid my dues. And it was Matimba Kabalika, who's not there anymore. She was like, don't give me that BS, like you're doing it. So yeah, BFI, we had to pitch them like properly, and then it became like a BFI short film, which helps, attract talent and get people involved.
Cool. And I think it's always important and just intriguing to know like how you came into film, and I guess as people wanting to learn, but also just I think we should always take people's stories with just like not to say we have to follow what it is that you did. It's always interesting to know. So yeah, just talk to us about like how you got film and like how you got started.
I was having this conversation actually with my mum, and it's so funny whenever I do like a panel Q&A, I'm always like, I was talking to my mum about this, and she gets really gassed because she's like, you're talking about me and your thing. But so I think I mentioned that I was homeschooled and quite ill when I was younger. I had a lot of time in between waiting for my teachers to come over to watch a lot of TV. I'm talking like from like Columbo to really old films, and I really got into storytelling. My way into TV and film is I don't think people can like go through those steps. Because I did this documentary that is on YouTube somewhere, where I was in it with a couple of other teenagers, and we had to make our a fashion label for London Fashion Week. I was 16 doing my A-levels.
You weren't directed.
I was in it. So we were doing the actual stuff of making the fashion label, but we were very much in production. It was like, that kind of thing when you have to like do diary cams, like, I'm really stressed about this. And we were going into the BBC, we were doing all those things for 9 months. So weirdly, I then went off to go to university to study fashion communications, and was miserable by like my second term, because I was like, oh no, I like the storytelling side of it, not the fashion side. So I did so many internships. And to do that, I had to have quite a lot of part-time jobs. And loads of people come up to me and they're like, I'll work for free for you, all of this. I'm like, no, that's not the precedent we want to set. So lots of internships. Someone says, yes, Yara, yeah. And what was I saying? Lots of internships and theatre as well. I got into playwriting. I'm not a playwright at all. Just to learn storytelling a bit more, and some production assistant jobs. And when I was at the BBC, I got to do a directing workshop. And this directing workshop was for, how do I put it? Like OG talent. When I think of like a production person, at the age when I was at BBC, I'm like, it doesn't look like me. So it was like for people who were moving, let's say, into doing shooting for like David Attenborough, and they wanted to they were doing their first like primetime TV kind of slot. I had to write this essay to be like, oh, I want to take part in it. And that was an intensive for 2 weeks. And I did that. And it was like, we had to shoot 3 shorts in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that made me just be like, okay, I have to do this. And I think it's quite hard to get credits when you don't have credits.
Right.
For me, working in development, as well as wanting to establish myself as a maker, was actually pretty tricky. And that's why I kind of took some time away from life and cocooned myself the last 2 years or so. And that's why I can be like, I've got 8 projects on the go. But if to like shorten it, I would say if I wasn't a really ill kid watching a lot of things, being like, I want to do that. If I had been like super healthy, maybe gone off to study English or something, who knows, maybe I would have ended up in TV. But I just think I wouldn't have been telling the stories that I do now if I didn't have those experiences.
Yeah, because you had that time.
Yeah.
I just had a question when you were like doing all these internships, like how useful would you say that was to the director you are, the being you are now? Like what did you learn through those? Did you get to meet a bunch of people that have helped your career now?
Yeah, but the people that I met or the people that I was interning with, I think that's something that people tend to forget. I think Issa Rae says it all the time, network sideways. The people that you're doing stuff with.
Sideways, I like that.
Yeah, you never know where people are gonna be. And also you just have to be really kind to people. I think if it's not in your nature to be kind, you have to learn because you're not gonna get anywhere. I think I have seen quite a lot of like toxicity in our industry and again, attracting what you give out. I think if you are a good person with good intentions, you're talented and you are willing to work hard without being evil, I think you'll be fine. I think a lot of people that I knew when I was like, 19, I'm 28 now, they are like commissioning stuff for other people, and we suffered together, and now everyone's thriving. So it's really cool.
Exactly. And you're working on 8. You say, is there anything you can tell us a little bit about those? And
I'll talk about the stuff that the like actual So when I say 8 things, I would say about 2 of them are other people's and 6 are my original stuff. So I'll talk about some of my original things.
2, right?
Yes. Shadowing a really cool director that I shadowed before I did Signs. I shadowed her on her shorts before I did Signs. Okay. And now she's like, this is again the kindness thing. Now she has her own show. She's done like lots of other TV things, but her own show she's created, and she's directing the first block, and I'm going to shadow her on the first block. And then she's given me some of her scenes to direct. I'm like, amazing. Are you kidding me?
Let's just remember this point that you're saying this, because we are constantly learning. We are always students in life, in our careers, and everything. You to still be here and be creating your own work. There's always space to learn. And I think it's really great that you're in the mindset to be like, I'm shadowing. We should be prouder to be open to learn more and receive more. Everyone around us. If there's someone else, another talented person that we want to learn from, we're never too never too big to learn, So I think that's a really good point for people, I think. Also, if anybody has any questions, we can put them in the YouTube comments. I wrote notes on that. Yeah, send questions to the YouTube live chat.
Is that what's coming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. So back to your project. So you're shadowing.
Okay. So shadowing for that directing. And so my brain is like very TV at the moment. I think it's a really collaborative space, and I know there's some snobbery still existing, even though we have really high-end TV. So I'm turning my quite stressful time at University of the Arts London. It's not based on that, wink. Into a comedy drama with a broadcaster here in the UK, and it's going to be like 30-minute episodes about this young woman who is being failed by institutions, basically. And she's interning a lot. She is slightly naive in what she wants to do in the fashion industry. And I think, again, with coming of age tales, there's not really, I haven't seen too many, let's say, apart from like Rocks, for example, now, that have like a Black lead, just wanting to grow up and explore themselves and like have bad romances and like Saturday jobs and do you know what I mean? I think it's like, so that's really exciting and that's really fun. Have to do that ASAP. I'm doing a book adaptation. Which is really exciting. But as I say this, I'm not signed my contract, so I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm writing a thriller about, I've written the first episode of it, about the maternal healthcare crisis for Black women in the UK. Again, I think I said earlier about looking at social issues, but for like a mass audience. So using a genre piece of a thriller to talk about a huge issue of, you know, I'm at age now where a lot of my friends are wanting children, and some of them don't want to have kids because they don't want to die in childbirth because of fearing, again,
How
most
tragic.
of the things are about institutions failing people. And I have just actually, I'm in post for a short that I shot about the 0.5% percentage of Black people in Margate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's like so that was an interesting one because I street cast that. Like none of the people in there are actors. And that was like an interesting one because it's a bit of doc and it's a bit of drama. And wrote and directed that. So I'm just editing that now and I have to deliver that.
Funded that?
BBC Arts.
Oh, okay, nice. Because I think as well, whether we're getting funding or it's just the importance of us consistently just creating is key to our livelihood. So I think it's great that you do have, I know it's like, oh, I have a lot going on, but it's how we just keep like outdoing ourselves and just keep growing and keep growing. So I think it's just great that you have a lot going.
Yeah.
And do you have any, I try to be, you know, advice is, how can we really truly give advice, because everybody's journeys and lives are different, but you know, any tips, like, or if anyone has any questions or like any tips that you would give upcoming emerging talents to create directors, you know, what would you?
Yeah, I would say like don't be afraid to ask for guidance and help and ask for things. I don't want to say things because it sounds like materialistic, but I think if there's a director that you really, really, really like, I don't think it's cheeky to find the representation of you know, who their agent is or whatever, to be like, I would love to talk to this person about their journey. And I think if you do get responses from that, I think it is remembering that everyone else's journey is different. But if it's like, you know, or even just watching their things, looking at their style, looking at the people that they've collaborated with, look at the credit list for everything. Like everything. And I think people move around quite a lot in terms of producers. So and they're always taking talent around with them. I would say directors as well, don't be afraid. Sorry, I can't speak today. Don't be afraid to write. So for me, I'm primarily a writer. I feel like I'm a writer that directs. There are lots of directors that are like, I could write something. And I think it was really hard in the pandemic with lots of productions shutting down. But for writers, it was just like, the writing doesn't shut down. So I think there's that. The early help teams in Hackney Council would benefit seeing the screening. Would you consider this? Yes, we actually tried to, but nothing came of that. So that's really, really good to hear. Yes, and schools as well, and charities. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, thank you. That was great. As I really love, again, like watching a piece of work and then actually getting to talk to the brains behind it. So now let me just think. How am I doing for time? Okay. Oh, look at me. I'm really on time. So, okay, just again, anyone joining now, if you missed yesterday's screenings, you can go to lftc.art to watch yesterday's screenings, as well as check out a portrait series, which is pretty cool on there. And now we can move to Myra. How are we doing?
Just gonna remember to unmute myself. Yeah, amazing. That was so beautiful, Yarrow, and really amazing to hear you talk about it. It's like, you know, it's kind of simmering off the screen, like all the emotions going on, and it's really like quietly really powerful, which is like so hard to do. So yeah, well done. It's amazing.
Thank you. I'm going to mute myself, but I'm going to quietly just observe. I don't know how to.
So now we have Garfield.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to read my synopsis here as well. So Krishna wakes up in a strange place with a strange guy. As she pieces together how she got there, she realizes that the reasons may be bigger than just the night before. Anything you'd like to say before we move into it, or?
Just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's nice, huh? We're getting to the nitty-gritty. Okay, cool. So here we go. I'm gonna go over as well.
What's your name?
Krishna.
Sorry?
Krishna.
One more time?
Krishna!
Okay, right. That's nice. I like that name.
Like the
Suits you. Like the god?
Yeah, it's the god.
God of?
I think it's a god of a religion.
What do you mean? Every god's a god of religion.
No, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Are you having a shot?
Yes.
Yes.
Fucking right. Go
Give
on.
us a shot. 3 shots. No, 4 shots even. 2 of us.
Between
even.
us.
Yeah.
I'll get them. What do you want?
Jaeger bombs.
Jaeger bombs. Jaeger bombs. There we go. 4 Jaeger bombs. Thank you very much.
YOLO.
Fucking YOLO. Morning.
Morning. Oh. Fuck.
Tea?
Yeah, please.
Sugar?
Yeah. 2, please.
Sorry?
Can I have 2, please? Fuck off, prick. So unfair. You have no idea what shame is. How's the tea? How's the tea coming along?
It's on the arm. It takes forever. It's on the arm. 2 seconds, honestly.
Okay.
I'll be right with you. Sorry. 2 seconds.
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Have you seen my purse or my keys?
You lost them
Got both of them
last night.
at the same time.
I don't know. You lost them by the time I met you.
Fuck, really?
Yeah. That's why you're here.
Really?
Well, I suspect so. It might have been my charm. Who knows? It might have been my gags, but I'm suspecting it's because you lost your keys.
Oh, I'm such a dickhead. Okay. Okay.
Is there anybody to let you in?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I can get you home.
You can get me home.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry yourself. Just sit yourself down. Yeah, I'll sort the tea out. I'm gonna be a hero.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have a go. I'll have a go at it anyway. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
You've got so many records.
Sorry?
You've got like real records. That's so cool.
Well, as you'll come to realise,
Don't tell me you're cool.
that's who I am.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks so much.
So, if I was to ask for your number,
I turn around to say no, because you're ginger.
right, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And I wouldn't lower myself to end up with somebody who should be wearing a pineapple. On
That is so rude. That is so rude. Borderline racist. No, but then I guess what I said is too. Right.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I would get some blinds for your flat though, because you might go off. I think you should get out of the sunlight, mate.
No.
Go on.
If it was,
Put an umbrella on your head.
that's an option.
I'm joking.
They call it the last remaining acceptable prejudice. This, there you go. Good tea? Tea
Choice.
tea done well?
It's actually good.
Good.
I like your dress.
Yeah, mate. Stag do. Cats, pink cartoon cats and all that manly shit.
Very, very manly. I always do that.
We're both pumped up.
Yeah. Well, after my workout, I'm there.
They are pathetic though, aren't they? Look
No,
at
look,
that.
can you see that movement there? You can definitely see that movement, can't you? Oh, it's Pink Panther. I prefer dogs.
Me too, actually.
Although with cats, you can kind of just let them fuck off, can't you?
Yeah. You telling me to fuck off?
No, no, no. Sorry, no. No, I'm not telling you. Right. I was joking about you being ginger, by the way.
I am ginger. There's
I
nothing
know
you can do
ginger,
about it.
but I was just joking. Sorry. I was making it worse. Better go. I need to change that ringtone. It's really annoying because it's an annoying ringtone, isn't it?
They used to call me Garfield at school.
Garfield? Yeah. Say more like Tigger. They used to call me Coconut.
Because you're so hairy.
That is not funny, and no, not because I'm hairy. Because coconuts, you know, coconut, you coconut.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely not. But it's all right.
It's brown and it's white.
Okay.
It's brown on the outside, it's white in the middle, like Bounty.
And you're white in the middle. Well, Bounty is coconut.
Yeah, I know, but Bounty's not a coconut.
It's made of coconut, you coconut.
Yeah, you calling me a coconut?
I
now,
am now.
Garfield?
I get it, actually.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it. Why they would.
That is so rude. Will you get up and take me home, please?
Yeah, not a problem. I'll take you right home. Keys. Can't get you home without the keys. Keys.
What car do you drive?
I don't drive a car. I drive a moped.
Oh, shit. That's me. Fucking hell. I'm going to use your toilet.
Yeah, of course.
Toilet, sorry.
Just through there.
Amazing, thank you.
Not a problem.
Oh, it's fucking warm, man. Are you standing right outside the toilet?
I'm putting my trainers on. No, that's a good point. All sorted?
Yes. All good. Got your keys, did you find them?
I did, yeah. Ready to go. Just a sec, let me sort this up.
Yeah, me too.
How far am I taking you then?
I have no idea where we are.
Bogate East.
Oh. Let me Google map myself. Southall, I live. So, I mean, you
We'll
know.
work it out. Are you hungry?
Sorry, it's just my dickhead brother.
Your bro?
Yeah,
How old is he?
27.
Why are you a dickhead?
All brothers are, aren't they?
Well, I'm a brother to someone, and so I must stand the reason.
I look a fucking mess. I love your boxers.
Yeah. I was always sort of women would judge you on your boxes. I need a... Yeah, I just need to go. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Thank you so much. I haven't left anything, that's why I haven't got anything. That was such a dick. I cannot believe that. This is going to be interesting. You ever been to South Africa? Oh my God, it's so cold. It's actually freezing. Oh. It's a fucking bloody Indian slag. Are you saying I look like a slag?
No, not at all.
Mate, what about that?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Are you actually taking a piss? It's so true as well, I can't walk in these. Hey, you couldn't be a girl if you tried it,
No,
right?
my dick's too big. There you go.
Cannot believe you said that. Funniest thing is, I can't remember if I even know that.
No, you don't. Oh, no. Right, so like that.
Right.
There you go. On you go. Right.
Cool. Can't wait to get into this. Especially as you are the writer, which is like a different angle to come at it. So let me calm down for a minute. So I guess, again, rather than me giving the blow, I'm going to ask, like, tell us, before we get into Garfield, what spaces you like to explore storytelling and in what roles you play, like, within that, because I feel like you're pretty well versed in some spaces. So
yeah, like, it's really weird. I just completely came at it from a strange angle, like Kiero, I guess, in some ways, just really as an outsider. Like having like creativity or anything creative wasn't really part of my sphere of existence. But I knew, like, every time I was trying to do something, it didn't feel right. And Matthew's saying you need to pink pantsuit. Everyone does. I actually wore that pink pantsuit to Carnival. Like,
it's yours.
Yeah, I was like, this is warm and like nice. Yeah, I wore it to Carnival like twice, I think, actually.
Yeah, the music is great too.
Yeah, the music. Elise Sluter, he's like amazing, sort of friends with Georgie, amazing musician, really good friend now. She's worked with like Nitin Sawhney and loads of amazing musicians.
Yeah,
created that original soundtrack, and it just
original soundtrack.
Yeah, so it's really, really beautiful to be able to have that as a real beat in the story when it all kind of ends. But yeah, so I think because I came from outside of creative, let alone storytelling or writing or directing, I had a really kind of loose understanding of what things were, and I kind of embraced that looseness. Like I read loads of books and like worked out how structure works, and but like most of my time up until I made that film was going out and being in the world, and I was just like, I was on one, and I just go out and like talk to everyone and like do things that I look back on now and go, oh my God, like, you know, before Uber, getting random cabs, like have the most bizarre journeys with like cab drivers who are like maybe trying to kill you sometimes, or, you know, all that kind of thing, like kind of absorbing the world through this like completely reckless like lens. And actually that became like the sort of the seeds of loads of stories, and being really engaged with people. So like I remember like being out in East London and like, you know, seeing a guy from like the National Front and just going up to him and start chatting, and basically by the end of the night he's hanging out with us and stuff, and it's like those kind of bizarre encounters, and they just kind of fill the spaces where there are so many in your 20s and stuff. So
I mean, hearing you say that, I can definitely, like, that's the tone of the piece for me too. That's like, you know, it's nice that we take as much time to just experience life. Our experience is what's going to help us. So, definitely the
time. I was in media as well at that time, and like I studied like economics, and I was like going down this route that was like, this is what I have to do. My sort of family was all about like, you have to not be hungry, you have to be able to earn money, you have to not be poor. And so that really kind of filled up my headspace, because it accidentally, you know, it's super motivating, but it really narrows your options. And I knew I always felt like an outsider to that, and it wasn't right. But I kind of used media to get into the creative side of stuff, so like copywriting and just doing people's jobs for them, and I was like, I can't understand how you work in a creative job and you're not like, this is amazing, like you get to do all this cool fun stuff. And you know, there are lots of people in those positions who didn't care, and you know, I just did their work for them. A portfolio on the side and kind of shifted into it that way. And at the same time, I started working in immersive technologies, so with VR, video games, AR, mixed reality. So actually really interesting, because I started coming at story from a really experimental point of view. So that year the film did this, like ended up at lots of festivals, which was amazing. I also created this one of the biggest mixed reality shows in the UK. Amazing. So super narrative driven, but just like an open world exploration of like what was that?
What's the name of that?
It's called Somni. And it was an AI that was had transcended human beings spiritually, and takes you on a journey through like the labyrinth of your subconscious kind of mind. So I got to indulge in a bit of sci-fi there as well.
And I think it's really, sorry, I have so many questions, but just pointers as things are coming to me, that I think it's really important for us also to not be scared of not knowing things. And I think for you, how it worked out, you know, you embraced the ignorance of not really knowing what, you know, but you just knew that you had something to tell. And I think that's so cool too. As I said, everyone's going to have their own journeys, but so sometimes we're like, yeah, you know, I wasn't that well versed in this space, but so kind of honing that, because I think it makes us braver when we're not kind of having direct things to compare to. It's just like, oh, I feel this, I believe this, I'm going to make this. I don't really know what I'm doing, but some of that kind of like free spirit energy to create.
That's so right. It's like, you know, that the kind of, I had zero expectations. Like we didn't have any idea that this film was going to do really well. We just really, you know, I showed it to a few people and they were like, we want to make this. It's really true. And then everyone brought their own truth to it. Like Georgie, the director, was like, just so talented. And she's known me for a while, and she just got it straight away, and she brought her experience of being a gay woman to it, and like other people on the team, but everyone's had that experience of being with an awkward and then like a morning after, or like an awkward situation where you like someone, but everyone's got a world of complex stuff going on inside their head, and like all the little beats in the story are little tears in their kind of facade where you sort of see what's going on underneath, and a little bit leaks out, and you're like, oh, and then you want to put it back in.
I guess so. Now let's just get into like the making or the meaning of Garfield and how it came about, and
So I mean, we kind of put a lot into the casting. So as you can see, the actors are like brilliant, and they had so much chemistry. So it was harder to cast Mandeep because we were drawing from a smaller pool, and actually it was really interesting in terms of background. Like my parents are from Mauritius, which is like a sort of Creole culture, really island culture, and like the roots of everyone are super mixed. And I wanted to tell a story that where she was from that family, but the casting was impossible. Like, oh no, there's no one that like crosses those boundaries. And also there were these sort of thoughts of like, but where's it going to fit then? Like, you know, which is a really interesting thing when you think about how you are boxed in as a writer.
Right.
And it was really funny when I met production companies and they found out that I like wasn't from Southall and my background isn't Asian like that. They were like suddenly really scared. And it's kind of like, oh, we can only make stories so we don't make any mistakes, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's just fear. It's fear-based, you know. And the way we navigated that was by going to Southall also and like chatting to people. And like we had all these conceptions about we're going to stick a naked guy on a motorbike and like drive him down the middle of the street. And what the hell is everyone going to do? And everyone was like, it was the most beautiful moment because like of the whole process, because everyone was so sweet and like so engaged with and just like so excited to have a film crew like in Southall. And it's like such a massive untold story. Like normally, you know, if you're shooting that background, you go to like Whitechapel or those kind of areas. And it's such a rich culture. It's amazing. It's shocking that more stuff isn't done there, you know. That was part of our process. Like bringing the city into the storytelling.
Exactly.
Really. And also with the kind of chemistry in the characters, sorry, I jumped, was like casting them, like took a while to cast them, but then like allowing their chemistry to breathe. So I wrote like 5 pages of character backstory for each, but the script was only 5 pages. So that they had really intimate, so they're, you know, they had this really intimate understanding of who those characters were, which allowed them to be on set having minimal rehearsal time. So the fire and the chemistry between them stayed there. You know, that's some, you know, some really amazing improv and acting and chemistry going on. They both went out the night before.
Oh, they
did?
like,
they do, you know, and it was like really early in the morning. I was like, ooh, you know, and it just like really comes to me. Everyone's a bit grimy and, you know, and, it, you know, the realness was just so important for that.
That's a process you take to kind of give them a real heavy back. I'm very intrigued by writing as well with characters where it's, you know, it's a short, we're there for a moment, we're learning, you know, we're trying to pick up pieces of them, but you can see they're so heavily ingrained in who, like their characters. I felt like, oh wow, you know, it felt like I was just there for a moment and I really knew them. And I think there are lots of when you do writing like this, is there a lot of improv within that? Do you kind of just give like a premise of what you want to talk about, or is it like word for word, this is, you know, how much do they feel? How does this go?
I'm like not a word for word person. I want the actors to like own the characters and feel them and bring their own stuff to it. And so like the structure's there, the story's there, the imagery's kind of there, and then there's beats that are in place for things to happen. And so that if you have performers that are just have a very basic structure and they're not as great at improvising, not used to it, being given that much ownership, they start to go in a circle. So as soon as it starts looping, they know where it's going. So So have a very clear idea of the story. But because they have a really clear idea of who they are, they know they can, in the moment, do what the character would do to get to the next point,
Right.
rather than it be, you know, a cerebral processing of the scripts. You know, it's really coming out of their body a lot more.
Right.
I think it's the Scorsese quote when he says, like, leave the set door open, where he would be on script, on set, rewriting. Like, I was on set the whole time, and like rewriting stuff, adding stuff in, like really quick, really fluid, really open. And like that's something that came out of working with immersive tech as well. Like being able to leave loads of space for experimentation, innovation, accidents, like, you know, all those kind of things to make it feel alive.
Right. I guess I'm kind of going off script for my questions in a minute. But what do you enjoy about writing?
I really love character stuff. So I'm working on a couple of things at the moment where it's just, you know, where you're constantly flipping the narratives of characters, like, you know, a brown mum who's like, you know, lazy and can't be asked and, you know, makes errors all the time, or, you know, an older woman who's super playful and like really, and like play fighty and a bit rough, you know, and, you know, those things where you're constantly going, just completely subvert that, because when you absorb life around you, you see those people everywhere all the time, and like keeping your eyes open and pulling, you know, pieces of everyone's lives together to make them really bubbling human beings on screen.
Yeah, and I guess if you're that curious as a person when you're out and meeting people, you know, meeting someone isn't just as shallow as just like, oh, you're right, you know, you're getting to know people. They're now out with you, and that probably that curiosity of just people, it really shows. So let's chat a bit about Georgie Banks Davis, right, the director. So you guys knew each other for a while beforehand.
Through it was kind of friend of a friend. And she was working a lot in the commercial space. So like working for really top end brands, like making beautiful, you know, emotive, atmospheric pieces for TV, like idents and ads and stuff, which she loves and she still does and really enjoys. And she'd made quite a few short films before. And I think this was like a moment in her career where she just wanted to jump in and do it her way and have the same sensibility about like sharing ownership and it being a massively collaborative process, and you know, listening to everyone on set and having ideas in the moment. So we stylistically we fit together really well.
Yeah, there was good synergy there. I just want to also now touch on, we had a question that was like, what was the significance of the mum calling? Was there significance of that?
And that's, again, it's like so I wanted to like create something that was like devoid of judgment of like young women in terms of like, you know, drinking alcohol, going out, like waking up somewhere you don't know, but with a presence that you can feel there's a presence in both of their lives actually. You might not be sure what it is, but it's very much in the background. So actually, when you're writing as a writer of color, it tends to obviously become about what people, you know, those stories of trauma or those stereotypes of that. Like, that's what I grew up. I grew up with stereotypes of like brown people that I then attributed a lot of what I was going through to that. And later found out that the various family things or whatever that were going on were nothing to do with like tradition. They were specific events that had like, you know, shaped like people, my family's personalities and stuff. I think it's like super dangerous and lazy and to keep going to those, especially now. So I wanted to have culture in the background and to try and strike that balance, so that there is a sense that her family, so her mum is like, where the hell are you? And her brother is part of that mix, but that there are so many other things going on for her as well, that she is, you know, you see her as a like working class brown woman in a like white guy who's kind of a hipster with all the cool records and the books on philosophy and all that stuff. He's living in East London. And that's her first real encounter with that world. So she's like fascinated by all the stuff in his apartment and all that, but she doesn't understand what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, and there's a confusion there, and it's like, you know, I had that experience of like going out with a music producer, and I was like this glimpse, and it actually made me understand what being a creative in London was about. I was like, oh right, yeah, like totally wasn't like dress cool. I totally wasn't part of that world, and feeling like an outsider, you know. So trying to capture that spirit of her.
Right. And were there any like certain? I mean, were there things that you thought I would like people to take this or learn this by watching this, or like
I guess it was like more retrospectively, I could say, because this is what I've gone on to build, I think. So I set up a production company like in 2019, touring around the world, making shows with immersive tech and exploring the future of story, and talking about new power as a kind of move away from hierarchies and established networks that are really strong in older industries like film and theatre. And you have to break through those, and you have to go through these funding processes. They're really hard, they're really tough, they demand certain things of you. It's like nodding along there. I know. And it requires a lot of energy, you know, and it requires a lot of headspace. And there's a point at which you can carve out your own culture, you know, that you're more powerful than you think you are. That if you build a culture on what you're doing, whatever that is, you know, like whether you're like taking a bit of film and blending it with like music or poetry or whatever, you can, and you don't have to go for the big screen and the big audiences. My business partner that I work with, he started a company called Junk TV in the 90s, and it was all about shooting films on the streets where you live with the people that you live with. And it grew and it grew and it grew. Junk TV, yeah.
Cool,
and it's a really cool punk film outfit, and you know, it's bringing that punk sensibility back into what you're doing and going, you don't have to you know, you can like at the same time, but you can carve out your own space. And if you're like doing something creative and managing to create a sustainable income and living out of it, you're doing really well. And, you know, you don't have to be on the big screen, and you don't have to be you know, like famous to feel like you succeeded.
For sure. And let's talk about I'm pretty good on time. How you came into script writing or writing, and what that journey was like for you, because you weren't.
Again, it's like a storytelling thing, I think, and like I just used to like do it under my desk at work and stuff. I was like, this job sucks, and like just like hiding under my desk with Robert McKee, like learning about story beats and structure, writing down loads of stuff, writing all the time, like, and it was like coming out of me, because it was the only, it didn't cost any money, like no like equipment, nothing, right? And you can just sit there and it just pours out of you when you don't. It's just such an outlet for processing stuff, right? And you know, if you journal, you write little bits here and there that how it helps you to sort your head out and process. And that's it really felt like the only tool that I was sort of capable in at that point, is expressing yourself.
And do you have any projects coming up, things that you're working on now?
So we had loads, and then we had the virus. So with my production company, we were touring last year, went to like 15 countries with shows and labs, and building communities with people with learning disabilities and people of color, and kind of allowing a space to grow around a new culture that is for everyone can belong to and tell their stories, kind of thing. And so much of our work was touring, so that got cancelled. But during lockdown, because we're working with immersive tech, and a lot more directors in film and stuff are starting to look at games engine technologies for creating stuff and ways of telling stories. So we created a couple of shows. One was a video game that was based on a night in our two of our childhoods, and we walked people through the game with a live soundtrack. And narrated the story over the game playthrough and broadcast it over Twitch. And it was like, you know, trying to go, okay, COVID proof, lockdown, low budget, like, you know, what can we make? And that being in that process that you spoke about before, actually, like being like having to ask for permission all the time and having to wait for long timelines and big budgets is a pathway that you can totally pursue, but there's also one where you're making stuff all the time, and to try and balance those things up. So using that year to like skill up and experiment with stuff and like do music and blend it with, you know, use spatial sound with immersive tech and all that kind of stuff. So there's a big experimenting, gaining confidence year in that space.
Right. Yeah, it's like COVID has like pushed us. It's expanded. It's growth in some way. We're like, okay, how can we create something cool now? You know, we're just being innovative. You know.
It's created a massive fault line in our ways of doing stuff, and it's forced people to, you know, acknowledge that. And there's loads of cool stuff that's come out, right? You know, when you think of like big institutions that are still broadcasting, like you take the National Theatre, that are broadcasting shows, you know, and it's not working because interactivity is massively in growth, and participation and playability. When people feel like they've lack agency and they don't have those things in their lives, you've got to step up and look at culture. And what's actually happening is that some things are really taking off and they're participatory things that are playable.
Right. Man, this has been great. Thank you so much, both of you. I know I've learned. Any more Georgie Maya collaborations coming up?
I hope so. She's in the States. She's like doing really well. So I forgot to say that she directed most of the episodes from I Hate Susie, written by Lucy Preble. So amazing. She did so well. And she's in the US now shooting something. So I have to wait till she's got a gap for me.
Make something immersive together.
I know.
I think from both of you, a takeaway for me, and you know, anyone else can, is that, and especially because of the stillness we've had from COVID, living and experiencing is important. We need it to be able to storytell, and anything we have to say is worth telling. I think, you know, we don't have to look outside or look alike. Like, you know, Yara, your childhood, you being homeschooled, you being ill has manifested it to like, now this is the work that you create because of your personal lens, and just trusting that our stories or our experiences, our lifestyle, our meeting people, our curiosity, all those things add. The more we build ourselves and pay attention to what our life has given us. And I don't know, that's why I really love to be able to watch works and then speak to them too, because it just goes to show how hand in hand those things go. So I just like to thank you for sharing that. And especially in the narrative, work in narrative space is always really someone that I've always just seen art kind of as like a moving music thing. So it's really cool to dig into like the writing and directing in that space. I think it's really, really cool. I've been really happy to do this. I was actually pretty nervous to do this. I've never like hosted anything before, but it was nice. It was just
natural.
Am I?
Yeah. Talk about outfit. I mean, obviously.
All right, let me get back to my script. So please keep an eye on your inbox. Check out lftc.art. You can also check out yesterday's screening there. And yeah, I think that was it. Any last words, ladies? Any top tips? Anything for us to leave with?
I mean, just keep making stuff. Or writing stuff as well. I think any idea that you have, write it down. Carry a little notepad with you everywhere. And if you don't want to write it, then you'll find someone that will want to write that story and with you. And I think that's really exciting to take away after the year we've had.
Yeah, definitely. And when you meet people, like, just talk about what you do, because you never know, like, you never know who is listening or what collaborations might pop up. Don't be afraid to, like, you know, be enamored by what ideas you're having, because if you're not excited by it, other people won't be.
Yeah. Just you speaking to existence too, huh? Talking about it is making it happen. Talking about it, reality. The brain doesn't know the difference. But thanks, ladies. Thanks so much. I had a great time today. It's really early for me. I'm actually in LA. I'm a Londoner, but I'm in LA at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Actually, no, don't worry. We'll talk afterwards.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, guys. Check out the website to check out yesterday's, and this one will be up as well. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Bye.
Bye. We're gonna linger.
Yeah. Hi. Are we still live?